Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your buddy Double D, and welcome back to Tom Clancy's The Division. Today we're going to be talking about patch 1.2 and the gear sets coming out while watching some solo rogue manhunt PvP going on in the background. Now, the backdrop to this story is basically everything that you're going to see on screen. I do not make a habit of running around the lower bracket ganking people, but I did have to go rogue to get some revenge on some people that jumped me and then decided to hide in a box until the timer went out, and I don't play that game. If you kill me and hide in a box, I'm going to wait for you to come out and you're going to die. And then I'm going to take your loot. And then naturally, I had to protect myself after that, trying to get away. But I digress. So let's talk about patch 1.2 and these new gear sets that are coming out. First things first, we're going to go over them, then I'm going to give my thoughts, and I'm going to tell you guys what I think the gear set you want to be on the lookout is. Alright, first gear set up, Final Measure. This is the tanking set. You're going to get a 2-piece bonus that has 50% exotic damage resilience, a 3-piece bonus that is going to give you 15% protection from elites, and then the 4-piece bonus, when damaging a hostile with a grenade, gain the defuse buff. When in range of a hostile grenade, the buff is consumed and diffuses the grenade as well as gives you an extra grenade. That might be cool. It does make me cringe a little bit because it makes me worry that there's going to be a lot of irritating mechanics that require you to defuse grenades in the new incursion, but we'll just have to wait until Tuesday to see. As far as PvP goes, I don't really see this being that viable. It doesn't really do anything to add to your health or to your armor rating, so yeah, not really that great for PvP. As far as Hunters, the next set we have is kind of like Sentry 2.0. It's called Hunter's Faith. It's going to give you 20% marksman rifle critical hit damage for a 2-piece bonus. The 3-piece bonus is going to give you 20% damage to elites. And the 4-piece is hitting an enemy with a bullet grants you temporary armor. The further your shot, the higher the armor bonus. The bonus disappears after one bullet hits you. One thing they have said is that this bonus will push you up above the 75% cap that has it's going to be at 75% for those of you who don't know. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. But they said in the state of the game that it will push you above the armor cap. So that's interesting to note. I don't think that this will be super viable for PvP, obviously, but it might be interesting to run a 3-piece of this and a 3-piece of Sentry's Call for a bunch of extra bonus damage to elites. We'll have to see how that plays out. The next set that we have is the set that's going to push us to use LMGs and shotguns, and that's called the Lone Star set. The 2-piece bonus is going to give you 100% ammo capacity. The 3-piece is going to give you 1,000 LMG damage and 1,000 shotgun damage. And the 4-piece is when the weapon is holstered, it regains full ammo. Now, I don't know what that 1,000 LMG and 1,000 shotgun damage is going to translate into. We will just have to wait and see, but I do have some nice LMGs and shotguns just sitting in my stash with some pretty good rolls on them, so that when I do get this set, I have something to test them out with, and I will definitely let you guys know, but I think it's going to be pretty hard to compete with SMGs still, just because of the rate of fire, the magazine size, and the range that you can get on them. There's not really anything that you can do with an LMG that you can't do with a submachine gun, and submachine guns are still going to give you the critical hit chance that you don't get anywhere else. Shotguns are fun to use, but I just don't see them being super viable ever, really, to be honest, because they just don't hit that hard. And again, in the range that you're going to be using a shotgun, SMGs, and even assault rifles are just way, way more advantageous. So that brings us to the last set, and this is the one that I'm going to be looking for, and this is the one that I recommend you guys start out looking for as well if you intend to do PvE and PvP. If you just want to focus on PvE, I really think any of these are going to be a really solid choice. But if you want something that's going to be viable, in my opinion, in PvP, you're going to want to be looking for Predator's Mark. And let's take a look at these stats. The 2-piece is going to give you 20% optimal range. The 3-piece is going to give you 800 assault rifle damage and 700 pistol damage. And the 4-piece is 10 shots without switching targets. Makes the target bleed for 100% of the damage already dealt. That's really interesting to see. I'm going to be interested to see how that scales, the bleed damage, excuse me, scales with the damage per bullet. So, will it be better to apply the buff very quickly with a fast rate of fire weapon like the LVOAC, I think it is, or is something that hits a little slower and a little harder like an AK-74 going to be better? It's going to be really interesting to see, and it's also going to be interesting to see if that is going to be able to beat out a critical hit chance and a critical hit damage build. I know that currently I'm running a critical hit damage build with a mix of Sentry's gear and for the 20% headshot bonus, I believe it is, and then the critical hit damage bonus from the Striker set. So currently I'm at like 57% critical hit chance and 210% critical hit damage, and that's before I use Scan Pulse. So in PvP, that's pretty deadly, and it melts people. But I like the direction that they're taking with these gear sets. They're trying to push people away, and they have said that there's going to be more in-depth weapon balancing, but they just didn't have time to do it in time for patch 1.2. So I'm going to be trying out Predator's Mark, and I'm going to be playing around with some mixing and matching of the other gear sets to see what the best combination for you guys is, and hopefully I'll have a good chunk of information within the first week of the release. The other nice thing to note is that they did learn from their mistakes last time, and they're not actually releasing the challenging mode incursion until a week later. They're giving people time to find game-breaking glitches and get them reported before they flood the quote-unquote market with all the super high-end Uber gear. But anyways, that's pretty much it for 1.2. There's a lot of information that I did not cover as far as the PvE goes. We'll do that maybe in a later video tomorrow, but that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay, and I hope that you found the information informative. If you did, guys, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. It helps me out tremendously, and as always, I appreciate the support. This has been it for me. Guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Double D out. Peace.
Exiting the contaminated area. Warning. Readings indicate this area is contaminated.